Yeah, I've issued a formal complaint into the BBC. Obviously, I was a panelist on the BBC Question Time immigration special, in which, astonishingly and staggeringly, the BBC saw fit to platform men who had entered the country illegally and give them a national stage to lecture the country and policymakers on what our immigration policy should be. In fact, when it was first announced that this was happening, on Twitter, there was a comedian who literally cracked the joke. He said, "I bet you the BBC bring some illegals on," and unbelievably, that is exactly what happened. To make matters worse, one of the men who originally was from Iran and had come to this country illegally by small boat, he was reading his quote question from his phone. And, that question involved him reading a soliloquy about why Britain must not withdraw from the ECHR. By the way, people watching this program will be smart enough to know if a man who broke into the country illegally is lecturing us on why we shouldn't leave the ECHR, it probably tells you something, doesn't it? And then he also appeared to be a constitutional expert. He started talking about the Northern Ireland settlement. It really was surreal. I felt like I was on the Truman Show. So my questions to the BBC are this: who made the editorial decision to platform these men, to invite them specifically, as I understand happened? Was license fee money used to do that? Then also, were these men coached in any way by anyone from the BBC as to what they were going to say? That would also be deeply inappropriate. But how is it that this country is in a situation, and the national broadcaster, which is obviously funded by license fee payers, thinks that the national debate on immigration is one between people who came to the country illegally and British citizens? And my point to the BBC was, well, what can we expect next? Will the BBC invite tax evaders to give their perspective on budget day, convicted burglars to discuss law and order policy and lecture policymakers on that? I mean, it really does defy belief. And look, we've become quite used, sadly, to kind of stacked and rigged audiences at Reform when we go on Question Time. But this was a new low. And look, frankly, I think the British people and people who pay their license fee deserve answers as to why men who broke into the country illegally were given a platform in this way.